What do your employees do, or is Katrin the only person you work with?
Yeah, so basically what we did, I think 5 or 6 years ago, Catherine, she saw that I was so busy and was, driving more and more business, and so she decided to become engaged, and the first 1 or 2 years she managed a couple of projects, and I took her along with a number of customers, and then we decided to let her take over the administration, so she became our managing director, and she takes care of, the legislative part, the accounts, loss and profit. So, she's the one calling me saying, hey, we have 3 customers who haven't paid, and our account suffers. That doesn't happen often, but this part of the, let's say, of the management, and this part of our business is in her hands, and she does a perfect job. I mean, since my nature is I very often reinvest the money I've earned, and she is more careful and conservative, and prefers to have the money at the bank account. So that's a very good help for me, because particularly the last 4 or 5 years where the markets have been volatile and that challenge, and we have always had money at the bank, and that's a very nice feeling. And as an entrepreneur, I am sometimes too fast in reinvesting, and for me it's very healthy to have that sort of rebalance with Catherine. So she would always question before I engage in something, and today I know that I really have to be convinced, and then I sit down with her and go through the case where I would like to invest, and I know that I need to convince her. I can still do it, but if she's not convinced, it's only half the fun.
Do you have any other employees or partners besides your wife?
Yeah, I think I thought about it when you wrote these questions. In the beginning, I employed people, and now I try to have external, like freelance, and sometimes we have even up to 10 or 15 if you look over a year. But we are very flexible. Like if we have a couple of projects and engagements where we frequently need somebody to assist us. So these people they often engage, and they often get jobs from us, and that varies. It can be as the amount, it can maybe be up to 20,000 euro, $30,000 in a year. So that is more that's like an employee, but we tend to keep it. I mean, we have right now we have 1 employee. We prefer to keep these jobs out of the company a little better paid than what is normally the case. I think if we only looked at the cost, we could probably get this job done for half the cost if we hire somebody. If we know we have a project where we need to contact maybe 50 or 100 companies, then we might have one person who calls through all these companies and reports the conversation. Maybe he even does research, so I walk through the project with that person. Then we define the objective, and then we define a price for that project that maybe 5 euros. And if he does it Monday morning or Thursday afternoon, I don't really care. I discuss with him, we need it in 3 months, or we need it done in 6 months, so he can sort of decide the priority. And then, if I spend 2 months in traveling, I don't really have to, I'm not in the office. I don't have to ask him twice a week, oh, have you done this? Have you done that? So maybe it's a bit more complicated in the beginning, because you have to find. You have a team of freelancers you can use, and you have to engage in each project saying this is what we need and this is how we would like to do it. But once done that, we then have very reliable people around us that, often they are better at this than we are ourselves. So I think that's very important.
What do you do day to day? You explained what they do, but how does your regular day go?
Yeah. Well, into the last few weeks, I get twice a week. I have customers asking me on rather on large projects, and so I have, what I just described. I used to be there maybe 10 years ago, and now for me, it's very easy to quickly make an assessment. What does a company need? So, well, I think I'm now at a point where probably I will expand my business. I would like to open a company in the. When I had the Scantrans account, I used to spend my time on the maritime business. And the last 3 years, that has not been the case. Right now, I'm in a number of negotiations, and it looks like I will have 2 or 3 significant accounts from next year, and then maybe I need to employ people. I haven't really made up my mind. First, I look at the contracts and see if they are attractive, and if I get them, then I will. So really, I've been running a lot of marathons since you asked me, and been reading a lot of books. I have a library. I've read everything. So been studying over the last 5 years, 10 years. Spent a lot of time reading, and. But I travel a lot, and of course, if you look at the number of hours and days, a lot of it goes into traveling.
And the reading, that is, it sounds that it's relaxing, but that information is your job. You share that knowledge, right?
Yes, I mean, this as well as I do. You are studying yourself, and there's so much knowledge out there which has been, some of the greatest brains of mankind. They have actually taken the time and sat down and brought their thoughts into let's say, an effective book or a series of books, and that know-how and knowledge and wisdom is just sitting there waiting to be tapped. And in our time, we are so fast with internet and emails, but sometimes you have to. I mean, that is sort of a firefighting. It's sort of a almost hysterical flow of information, but that is not necessarily wisdom or a bit cynical, I could call it clear thought. And this clear thought, I'm always seeking, and I like the luxury of having people better than myself around me. I also think I have the luxury of often finding literature from people or about people that are fantastic. And yes, I use that a lot in my work. I think I'm only at the beginning of this. I have the feeling that I will do more of, there's this. It comes from a woman, but it's when you're young, you learn, and then you enter an age where you perform, you work, so to say, and then you have a phase of your life where you pass on or you hand over. And I think I'm slowly getting in that phase where I will hand over what I can to other people. Maybe not necessarily to the next generation, but just sort of the period of really eating knowledge from others is sort of coming to an end, I think.
Yes, but you're a very smart man to keep that interest going for so long, especially through working so much.
I find it encouraging to meet other people, and no matter where they are, some people are just like a Buddha or like a Dalai Lama, right? And you can just sit down and take in everything they say and just be amazed that you have been allowed to meet such people. And other people are struggling. They are, they cannot find the answers. Maybe they are having troubles in their daily life, in their private life, and so. But I think there's an inspiration in all of these encounters, and truly it's just as inspiring to be able to help somebody as it is to be helped, or to have the luxury of being to be given something. So I don't really since my job is often meeting a lot of people, it would be a hard time if I didn't enjoy it, and I really enjoy it. I think it's a luxury.
Did you decide that was what you wanted to do because of your family previously doing that? I know you said you're a fourth-generation entrepreneur.
Yes, and I can see with my children, I can see that, of course, and when I mentioned the spirit of, making your own impact and being in charge of your decisions or the decisions that concern you, yes, that is... it is very difficult for me to accept a working environment where if I think something is being done wrongly and I analyze it and I step up and point my finger at it and I make my contribution to the results and maybe significantly, and nothing happens on the side where things go wrong, then for me it becomes really difficult to be happy under such circumstances. And I experienced that a couple of times, and I realized that it sort of it decreases my quality of life and my joy, and I think that was. But I did not really have the self-confidence, and it took a couple of efforts. It's like getting a child. There's never a perfect timing for it. A young couple, and they say, so when should we plan for this? And there's never a right time for planning for a child. And I think for going independent and deciding to set up your own business, I think it's rather similar. There's never a perfect timing. Or maybe when times are difficult is maybe a better time than when times are easy. When times are easy, everybody can, make it work. When times are difficult, you really need the willpower, and of course also the physical and intellectual investment and creativity, but primarily you need the will not to give up. And so yes, maybe there is a certain good timing for it, but I don't think there's ever a perfect timing. And for me, yes, to become my own boss was really important. Of course, happiness is, and it's in your constitution, and it's really worth fighting for and striving for. And I hope for everybody that they will have as much of it as possible. But even when it comes, stormy and nothing but suffering, then not to give up but entrepreneurship I don't think is a necessary element in the pursuit of happiness. It certainly is. I think it adds more. Spice to life. It's when it works, it's really you feel like flying, and when it doesn't work, you feel like working deep down in the mines. But it's maybe life should have both, right? I enjoy it, and I can recommend it to everybody. I think it's the best professional decision I ever made, but that's for me. I don't know if it works for everybody.